So now we need to consider where the bar is actually going to sit on our back. So we've mentioned that we need to keep the weight over the center of our gravity. Now, due to differences in our anatomical makeup and our leverages, different people will be suited to different bar positions. And all that we're kind of looking at is, whether or not that allows you to keep the bar over the midfoot throughout that squat. So at the novice up to an intermediate level, we're going to use the squat that best suits the individual and allows them to use as much weight as possible. So what's comfortable, what works well, what position are you going to be the strongest in? Another consideration that we need to think about once we kind of surpass that intermediate level and we start to use heavier loads and the intensity starts to go up, is we need to consider the recovery demand of a low bar in comparison to a high bar squat. So the low bar is going to have a higher recovery capacity or a higher recovery demand. We need to take that into account when using higher intensities and loads. So typically the bar position for a novice lifter is going to be decided according to the femur length in relation to their torso. So a shorter femur is going to allow for a more upright torso in the squat, and this is going to be better suited to a high bar squat or a front squat. So staying nice and upright, if the torso is already going to be in a more upright position, the high bar squat is going to suit this better. Now, if we're someone who's maybe got a longer femur, someone like me, we need to think about the position that actually puts us in for our squat. So that's going to cause us to be more bent over. So our hips are typically going to shoot back because we've got a longer femur. We need to kind of like create a little bit more room to sit into that squat. So we then need to alter the bar position. So suggesting that the bar would potentially need to sit a little bit further back down on the back that allows it to keep directly over the midfoot whilst we kind of have that more bent over position. So just something to consider if you are someone who maybe has got, longer femur and you're better suited to that lower bar position. It does require some more thoracic mobility and some more shoulder mobility just to allow you to kind of get into position and actually pull yourself under the bar. So if this is limited, you could start to experience restriction or instability through the bottom third of that squat. And we can also start to have some pain come up as well. So it is something to consider. There are obviously like other alternatives, a safety bar or other variations that we can start to use, or alternatively, you could just work on those weaknesses. But those are some considerations. If you are someone who is better suited to the low bar squat, we need to have a think about how that's going to influence things up and down the body as well.